Hola.
Oh, it says the stream is live.
Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everyone. I'm here with Chip, the Hallmark mystery expert. And I cannot wait. So while we're waiting for people to pop in, let's see who's here and what they have to say already. Let's see. We have Bonnie, who is from Chicago, and she says, waiting to hear what he has to say about Tipline. And Teresa says, I think it's great that he comes in without a bias regarding the characters. Yep. Arlene is here and she says, hi, Roxanne and Chip. I'm actually watching Nelly Knows Mysteries right now. Been
Sorry
sick
to hear
with
that.
COVID, so I missed the premiere, but so far I'm not too impressed with
I
it.
love you, Arlene.
And they're telling her to feel better. Hello, everyone. Who else is here? Oh, we have quite a few people. I love this. Teresa's sharing an idea. If you want to go back and scroll through peeps, she's sharing an idea she has for a mystery series where Aaron and Chris would star in it. And I want to make a twist, Teresa. I don't want Chris to be the PI. I would like a female PI because we don't have any female PIs. They're all men.
Hallmark had one and they dropped the ball.
Oh, I know. So who else is excited? Teresa says she's excited. Let's see who else. All right, looks like we got a crew in. Good morning. Where are you? Oh, South Australia. Kathy's here. That happens. Hi, Roxanne and Chip. That's Cindy. Good morning, everyone.
Wait, is this the Cindy Smith I know?
I don't know. Cindy is always in, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. So it's not the Cindy
It
I know.
could be. I mean, it could be. I have a Cindy Smith that visits all the time. Central Iowa is Nikki. She's here. Avis is here. All right. Okay. So I would like if we could go in the order of your impressions before we even get there, though. I'm going to share with you because you know nothing about the show. I'm going to share
I've
with
never
you.
seen 1 minute of When Calls the Heart. I know almost nothing about the show.
Right. And I warned everyone about that. So, which is great.
Do they know why I don't watch it?
No, they don't know why.
Because I don't like, for the most part, I don't like period things. I don't like olden times, as I like to say.
Yeah. He doesn't like back in the day stuff. Right. I
Not
know.
usually.
Yeah, I know. That's okay.
Although they did that one movie, they did two movies, um, one-offs movies that were set back in the day that I did enjoy.
Yep, that's true. That was like this whole vibe for like Jane Austen, I was saying. And that's kind of like when they released the Legend of the Lost Locket, which of course takes place in present time. However, it does have a little, flashback to back in the day, olden time.
Olden times. I also don't like outer space and time travel.
Yes, I hear you. But I'm telling you, you have to watch The Way Home. I know you don't like time travel, but you would because it's not, it's different. It's so good. It keeps you on you can't guess a thing. It's so good. It's
I
so
did
well.
like that one with what's his name from
Yes.
Aurora, the Rip in Time.
Rip
I
in
did
Time.
like that.
Yeah.
And then there was a Christmas one where the guy came out of the picture.
Yes. What was
I
that
did
one?
like, I forget, but I liked that one.
Yeah,
Those
that
were
was good. Well,
that was,
that one was really, is that with Jen Lilly? That one's really old.
no, it wasn't her because I don't care
Nope.
for her.
Okay.
It was. Oh, am I not allowed to say those things?
Yes, you can. You can. It's okay. You don't care for her. That's your opinion. All right. So let's get into here. What is Chip? He's a Hallmark mystery expert. That's what is Chip?
Do I get to introduce myself?
Of
Because I
course
have a
you do.
little
Go
bio
right
written.
ahead. Let them know who you are and why you are what you are.
Okay. I started reading mystery books when I was 5 or 6. I was an early reader. I would read things like the Hardy Boys and all those things. Then when I was in 6th grade, I found Mary Higgins Clark. And by the time I was in 9th grade, 8th or 9th grade, I was reading Flowers in the Attic and those things. And I don't know where my mother was that I was reading these things. And I love the series. Like I was reading the Murder She Baked books, like whenever they came out. I read all of them. Mm-hmm. And then when Hallmark started doing these series of books, I just started watching them. And always watched murder. I was watching Alfred Hitchcock Presents reruns when I was a kid. They ran on the local PBS station. Now they're on Peacock. and whenever I have half an hour, I'll watch them or just put them on on the background, and I can watch them multiple times. I don't care if I know who the killer is. I just like it's more about the characters. That's why I like the Hallmark movie mystery series, because it's about the characters. I'm a lifelong soap opera fan, and I like the continuation of the characters and the development of the characters, and that's why I get mad when they pull the rug out from under us, like the Mystery 101.
By the
And
way, what would you say is your favorite Hallmark mystery series?
101.
It is mine too, hands down. 101.
The only problem I had with 101 was they didn't have a great depth of secondary characters.
Right
That was really, there was only like 5 characters.
now,
And
we get that though. We get to really know the characters, and
yeah,
there's a lot of interesting characters in a different series that you
well,
really
in
like.
Aurora, there was a
Yeah,
huge cast of characters. And when CCB left Hallmark, they could have easily
yeah,
just had her go off and have, I said this before she even left because I'm not a big fan. They could have had the Lawrenceston mysteries, beefed up everybody's
yeah,
part, given the other characters room to breathe because
yeah,
Aurora sucked the
yeah,
oxygen out of every room she walked into, given Sally a life, given Lillian something to do, given Charlie something to do, given other people a life, and just
yeah,
made it like the town, right? The
yeah.
Lawrenceston mysteries, and kept it going. Although I do like the what they're trying to do with the
Prequels.
origin story,
Yeah,
and I do wish, and I hope they do more, and I hope that they bring in like a young Lillian and a young younger versions of other characters.
yeah,
I wish that they had had the captain of detectives been Charlie's dad, right? Been, kind of play around with it a little. Yes, Joan, Roseanne without Roseanne, exactly. And that's been successful, right?
hmm.
It's not all about Roseanne. It's about, when
So,
Valerie Harper left Valerie, right? Went on for another 5-6 years. Um, so they easily could have done that, and I wish they had. I mean, clearly, she doesn't have ownership of those characters because they went on without her.
yeah,
I'm very disappointed about 101. That was my favorite. It was mature characters, and it was smart. It wasn't like
hmm,
it wasn't
silly.
simple.
Yep, yep.
You've interviewed the author,
Hmm.
the screenwriter, and it was well done. They had decent production values.
Good
Um,
writing. He's a good
He's
writer.
a
That
really good writer. He wrote that
writer.
Mystery Island, which was decent. I
Yeah,
wish that they had
yeah.
done some more of those. Um, and then they did a couple of other ones. I wish they had continued. You had talked about the female detective. They did
Hmm.
that Francesca Quinn. I don't know
Which
why
was
they didn't
very
do a
good.
couple of other. They
Yeah.
didn't follow up on that. They did that Nikki and Nora, the sisters. I don't know why they didn't do any more of that. It always comes down to money, I get. And clearly, they're still making money. They did a 2-day marathon last week on Aurora Tea Garden. So clearly, they're making money on it. They wouldn't do it. Um, what's the other one I loved? Gourmet Detective.
Yes.
That was
We
the other
always
one
talk
I loved.
about that. So
And
tell them about your background in television, though.
oh
Know that.
yeah. I work, I have a background in daytime television. I worked in at As the World Turns
Hmm.
for 13 years, basically uh,
Yep.
public relations, fan things, writing fan club newsletters and putting on fan events, things like that. That was a lot of fun, and uh, the show did not live or die by me by any means, but it was a lot of fun, and
Sure. Yeah.
but I learned how television works,
Hmm.
and really, they don't call it show business um,
Yeah.
by accident. It is a business, and it's about money,
Right.
and you know.
All right. We're ready. What I'm going to do is this. And
Oh,
people
I
are
do want to say one other thing.
okay. Go ahead.
You know, I love watching Hallmark movies.
Yep.
Clearly, I spent 4 hours today watching Hannah Swenson, and I've loved Alison Sweeney for
Love
30
her.
years.
Love her.
There's a million things in this world going on that are way more important than Hallmark movies. Yep. And I use it as a diversion. And I worked with Alan Locker, Arlene. Yeah, he's a decent guy. There's a million things going on in the world that's way more important than Hallmark movies, and I try not to take it too seriously. Right. And Roxanne knows I roll my eyes at her half the time, but it's fun. It's fun. I really enjoy it. But
if I'm having a moment, I'm like, I'm calling you up because I'm having a moment, and you need to put it in perspective. And
yes, you do. That's what I tell her.
All right. So, I'm sorry. I was going to share.
And then there's the okay. So we're going. All right. It's 10 after. We're going to talk about the things that we came here to talk about.
Cindy has a question for you. She says, do you like Curious Caterer?
That's the one I was going to say, and I just stopped.
That's okay.
Let me talk about Curious Caterer.
Go ahead. A blurb.
I don't love the leads. I'll never say I hate anything.
Right.
I don't love the leads.
Okay.
I think that they have compelling mysteries. I enjoy it. I've watched every single one of them. I know they have 2 or 3 more in the can ready to watch. I will watch them. I think they're interesting, but I just don't love the leads. If I've watched a lot of their movies, they're not ones that if they're in something else and there's somebody else in them I like, but you can't love everybody. Now, Arlene or Margie, Color Murder. I like that. I enjoyed that. And I'm disappointed that they didn't make more. And Roxanne has a whole spiel about why they didn't do more. And disappointed about that. Yeah. And they did leave us with a huge cliffhanger.
They did. And, Cindy, as Chip, you know this. Cindy is saying she loves the Diane Mott Davidson books.
Yeah, I did too. I read them. I've read them years ago.
And I really love Goldie and the sheriff. She marries the sheriff, and he's a big hunk of a burly man, and it's so different, just so different.
Well, you have to separate the books.
Yes, you do.
Because I read all the Joanne Fluke books.
Yes, you do have to separate.
And in the books, I was always Team Norman. And then when the movies came out, they cast Cameron Matheson, who doesn't love him. So I always wanted her with Mike. And today I watched for the first time the one after the first one without Mike. I'm like, but I love Alison Sweeney. So I'm never going to not watch anything with her. And everybody has their favorites.
Yeah.
And they did one of my pet peeves about Hallmark is they don't have a sense of humor. And in one of the ones I watched today, somebody was talking about reading mystery books. Oh, and there's this one series I like that has all these recipes in it. Finally, something that they're having some fun with it.
Yeah, they've really changed. There's quite a few that are like
changed. They haven't really changed. They've changed. They're trying.
Changed. All right, so the Legend of the Locket, which is what you'll do first. These two here play husband and wife. They're actually very good friends in real life. They play husband and wife, Viv Leacock and Natasha Burnett. And I love it because in the show, they're from the South, but they live up in Canada. But Natasha is English or British, and she gets to use her actual, her real life accent. And just to give you a heads up, this is just like another picture of them. So that's who they are. Do you want to see them all, or do you want me to just show you as we go through the story, the mysteries themselves?
No, I'll talk about this. This is probably my favorite of the 3.
Okay.
I kind of favor the small town ones over the city ones. Roxanne and I come from a small town. I live in a small town in Massachusetts, just like this movie took place. And the thing that makes me laugh about the small town movies is they all seem to have a small town. They all seem to have a full-time mayor. Roxanne and I come from a town of 15,000 people, never had a never had a full-time mayor.
Never.
Along with John DiDonato mayor, like 15
Forever.
years.
Yes.
He was never full-time. I live in a town in Massachusetts full-time year-round population 3,600. We don't have a full-time mayor, but these places all have full-time mayors. I love how he comes out in his suit and he's all blustery. And I get that it's fiction and they're building a thing, but I love the small town ones more than the big city ones. So that number one. I did enjoy this. It was interesting that there was no murder. That's unusual.
Yeah.
I liked that. I liked the international piece of it, that she came from England and she had this locket. I liked the it was almost like a treasure hunt. I enjoyed that. I had the culprit, not the killer, but the culprit pegged from the beginning. In fact, I texted Roxanne. I said, it's the mayor's. I didn't say girlfriend. I said something else, but it wasn't very difficult. But and that doesn't matter. I'm entertained by characters. Not entertained by the
characters.
Yeah, I'm entertained. That's why I've been a lifelong soap opera fan. I love the characters, in all the series. I tend to like the secondary characters. I want to know more about them.
In this particular movie, they had really good secondary characters.
Yeah, they did. The Enid was her name, the older lady, and I love how the older people are very active. They're always taking yoga and they're mystics, and I love that.
Yeah,
because I know my grandmother wasn't doing any of that.
What did you think of the chemistry of Viv and Natasha?
Well, I think that they were smart to do what they were doing. Here's what they weren't smart about.
Okay.
I watched all 3 of these movies.
Right.
I watched them all very carefully.
Yes.
There was not one ad for When Calls the Heart in any of them.
Maybe
no, there was not. I watched very carefully.
No.
The times I watched them, maybe the original run. Yeah. I never watched. No, I did watch that Nelly one on the first run the other night.
Yeah.
But the first 2, I did not watch the first one. There was not one promo for When Calls the Heart during it. And then when I saw promos for the movies during other shows, they didn't say, watch your favorite stars for When Calls the Heart in.
Yeah.
That's advertising 101.
Right. And they
cross promotion. That's cross promotion. Remember in the old days when they had TV movies on Sunday night and they'd say, watch Meredith Baxter Burney from Family Ties in Did
you see this this actor here? He's from The Locket.
Yeah, that's the mayor, right?
Yes, he is also from When Calls the Heart.
Well, how would I know that? Because they didn't tell me.
You don't. His name is Ned. So the one is with the woman is the actual from the show or from the mystery movie, but on the other side where he's standing by himself, he is from that's him as Ned, who owns the Mercantile. I'm sorry, what?
That's him on the right from When Calls the Heart?
Yeah.
Now, is that woman in When Calls the Heart?
No. Rona says they only show the promos of When Calls the Heart when it's on. Yeah.
Well, how they expect somebody like me who's never seen it to even know about it?
I know and want to watch it. They should. You're right. They're missing it. I think.
And is that on Hallmark? That's on regular Hallmark, right?
Yes.
So how they put the ads on Hallmark Mysteries?
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe that's something that we need to bring up and let them know. Then
they're going to listen to me.
It captures more people. Oh, they listen apparently to me when I'm they listen to what I have to say because they call me.
Sometimes they can't get out of their own way. What the hell?
I know. So what else did you this is a lead into the next one and I'll get to that, but what else did you like about that one? You said it was your favorite?
It was my favorite out of the 3. I liked the characters. I liked, and it's typical Hallmark. Stranger comes to town, becomes best friend. There's the diner. There's the guy who's towing her car. There's and then the guy who's towing her car owns the diner. And then she's appraising antiques for half the town. And they love her. And she stays at the B&B. And the woman's daughter falls in. It's typical Hallmark fare. And look, there's a reason they keep making that same movie.
Right.
Because it's comfortable. People like it. That it's typical Hallmark. It's comfort food. People like it.
You're right. It was like it was their not it was
It's the formula. It's the
yes.
formula that works.
Right. Okay. So this is the mayor, but he's Ned in When Calls the Heart, and he's holding up two newspapers to show that the character of Lucas Bouchard has won, or is he's governor now. So that takes us to the next one, which is Tipline Mysteries, and this is with Holland Roden and Chris McNally, and Chris McNally is Lucas Bouchard in When Calls the Heart, and here he is in all his different attires. I think I got that either from Wilma or Holly. They made a edit and I borrowed that from them. And then this one here shows if Wilma and Holly are the two I borrowed from, and I forget which is which. I think this one is Wilma's. This is Chris. He had a big lead because when she had to make a decision, Erin, who is the star of the show, on who she was going to marry, she chose him. And that's a whole other story because she's no longer with him. But that's
Was
who.
that big scandal that you
Yes,
were
that is the big.
chewing my ear off for a year and a half?
More than a year and a half is still going on. So that is the big scandal.
Oh,
Go ahead. No, don't talk about
wait.
that.
I see Kathy made a remark about Murder She Wrote. I can't believe I didn't mention Murder She Wrote.
Yes, we
Murder
know
She
you
Wrote's
love
having
her.
the 40th anniversary next month, and I loved it. Every Sunday night, it was 60 minutes, Murder She Wrote, and then whatever was on after. I would go over to my Aunt Marie's house on Sunday night, football, 60 minutes, Murder She Wrote, and reading the Sunday paper. And I didn't realize until things like Hallmark came and they'd run the Murder She Wrotes one right after the other, that it was a total formula. 20 minutes setting it up, 15 minutes investigation, then that little piece of music where she goes, and then she goes unarmed to confront the killer. The killer says, "I'm sorry I had to come to this, Mrs. Fletcher." And then they come in and they save her.
Okay,
But,
so let's
it's
get
great.
back.
It was great for its time.
So I wanted to mention something as a sidebar. Hold that thought. Jean, if you remind me, those of you that are talking about cut color murder, I've talked about this before. If you remind me at the very end, I will explain something about that that movie to you. All right. So talk to us about Tipline. What did you think about this one?
I liked it. I didn't hate it. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the couple, good looking couple, he's handsome.
Mm-hmm.
She's cute. He's charming. She was a little annoying, she was a little yappy and I didn't love that hotel thing with the handyman and that couple. I actually thought the couple was guilty.
Well, you didn't know.
She was a little annoying. If I knew somebody like that in real life, I would be really annoyed.
Well, he was annoyed. He handcuffed her and got annoyed by her.
Yeah. I thought it was shot really dark. I didn't love that.
Oh, it was done on purpose.
I know it was done on purpose. I didn't love it. It was very un-Hallmarky, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they do things un-Hallmarky that I love, that I do like remember the one with that we always talk about, Catch Me If You Claws with with Luke McFarlane last Christmas. I loved it. Sometimes they go off the formula and it works. Sometimes I'm not saying this didn't work. I just didn't love it.
So let's talk about let's get into some
the mystery was good. The mystery on that one was better than the one in the Locket one.
Right. Okay.
It was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the characters in the Locket one better. Look, if they make another one of either one of those, I'll watch it.
Okay.
I enjoyed the characters in both of those. I think they need to tone her character down a little.
Right.
And he took to her too fast. I think the detective needs to be annoyed by the amateur a little longer.
Yeah.
And the Locket one, it was more about, does he trust her? Does he not trust her? Because there was no murder. Right. It was like that Mistletoe Lane last year. There was no murder for them to work on. And I like that one because they brought the kids in on it.
Yeah.
And I think if there was a murder and the kids were in on it, that would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
but I think he took to her too fast. And
Now there's no love interest whatsoever in this one. This is it wasn't about them kind of having feelings for each other. However, there is chemistry when you got a
well, I mean,
scene
it's
partner.
Hallmark.
Right. Well, I know that, but it wasn't. It wasn't like a rom-com. We talked about that. It was written not to be at first, maybe
Well, if
later.
they do another one, it has to lead
But
that.
what did you think about their chemistry? Did it work?
I could see it if she wasn't so annoying. Yes.
Okay. Right. And what about like
Now, do they
so
play a couple on that When Calls the Heart?
no, they're not together. Only Chris is on When Calls the Heart.
Oh, she's not.
No, she is not. No. Nope. And I was just yeah. So
Right.
what about like so when we go back to I'm not Tipline, the first one, the Locket. Those two, do you think that they were believable in portraying the characters that they were playing, or like are they authentic, or do you know them?
Yeah, like all Hallmark,
Mm-hmm.
it moved way too fast. I mean, that wouldn't happen like that in real life.
Yeah.
It did
I
move
don't
way
mean
too
the
fast.
storyline. I don't mean the storyline being authentic. I mean the actors. Like
Oh
sometimes
yeah,
we
they
yeah,
gave
they're
you know
polished.
they
Yeah.
gave good solid Hallmark performances.
What about with this one with Holland and Chris? You think that they were
Oh, he was way
polished?
better than her. Yeah, he was good. She. I wish that they had a friend, another friend for her. I know they had that guy in the tip line office,
Mm-hmm.
but I wish they had another friend for her, like a girlfriend
Yeah.
at home or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Catherine is saying, the lighting in the locket was visually
Yes.
pleasing and I enjoy the costume scenery. Catherine, it was. I love that too. It was a feast for the eyes.
Yeah.
And
There's a
then
lot
when
of outdoor. Yeah, it
yes,
was
it
it
was
was light. It
beautiful.
was beautiful. It was new.
Yes.
It was mass. It was new.
Yes.
Supposed. I live in New England. It was beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Tipline is supposed to be dark and seedy and it was supposed to have that 90s gumshoe feel. And I like that. I thought
Well,
that was
that's not the
different.
typical Hallmark fare.
Nope, it
Yeah.
is not. And I think they were
And I
trying.
complain that they don't do that enough, and here they do it, and I'm complaining about
I
it. So.
know. You know what I find out that's neat though is that when I pointed this out when I talked to the directors, when we see the beginning of the Locket, it's the typical beginning of a Hallmark movie. But when you see the beginning of Tipline and also with the other one that we haven't discussed yet, their beginning starts as the way they run it and they do it like it's a weekly show that comes on. The way they
You're right. It did. You know what it remind? You know what that reminded me of?
yeah,
And I'm going to age myself here.
that's okay.
Does anybody remember the show from the '90s, Wise Guy? It was like a
Mm,
mob show. This reminded me of a cheap version of Wise Guy because
yeah.
they had a budget. I mean, they were on a network that ran for 6 years. It reminded me of something like that.
Yeah. Arlene, you're right. I got that feel too that it would be a one and done kind of thing for the
But
Locket. But it
it
could
felt like it. But I see where I mean, the mayor gave her that building. You know, I can see. And
yeah,
look, it's antiques. Antiques have history, right?
yeah,
So she can have an antique, and there could be. It doesn't have to be a murder. It can be some. It doesn't have to be a curse, but it could
mhm,
have something attached to it where somebody uh, it belongs to somebody's grandmother and she brings two
yeah,
families. There's
sure.
endless possibilities,
Yeah, like
and it
post
can be a murder.
yes, you can. There are endless possibilities.
And
And
especially they did that antique show. Look,
mhm,
I come from a small town, roughly the same size, and
yeah,
they had that antique show that brought Carnival Week was here last week. My town of 3,700 went to 100,000. It happened.
yeah.
So they can do something. I mean,
Or the
there's
asphalt
endless
thing.
possibilities to do that. I would watch that if they did 2 or 3 a year. If they did one a year,
Yeah. And the same with Tipline. It was written with, I'm not saying that the Locket was. I know it would be the hope of Viv and Natasha. Now, Viv and Natasha were EP's executive producers for that. The two that starred in it were also executive producers for it. Now, Chris and Holland, this is with hopes that there would be more. Um, I don't know, but we got it to trend twice at 2 different times. All right. Anything
Well,
else?
I don't say Tipline has to go back to the drawing board. They have to think about it a little more.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was a solid B. Um, but I did enjoy. I won't watch it again, but if they do another one, I have Hallmark movies on my DVR that I'll watch 100 times. I watched a couple of weeks ago. I watched Holiday Road again, and I cried as much the second time as I did the
I
first time.
know. I
I
know.
haven't been able to watch Christmas on Cherry Lane again because I can't even think about it
Oh, I
without crying.
know. I know. Cindy wants to know, do
Yes, Michael Wall was the Ken Wall. It was Ken Wall was the wise guy.
you live on the Cape?
Yeah, I live on Cape Cod.
And let's see. Catherine is saying what she enjoyed is the dialogue and the banter in Tipline. So did I.
Yeah, I did too.
I loved how she would say one thing and then he'd be sarcastic right after it. I laughed out loud with that one. I thought that the writing and the way they played off with it was good.
It was cute. Some of it seemed a little forced, but it was cute. Cindy, where were you?
I don't know.
She said she was here last week. I just want to know how far she was from me.
Arlene says they replay Wise Guy on Pluto TV. All right. And
My
now,
mom used to love that show.
okay, we'll see as they come up in the comments. And now we have Nelly Knows Mystery, A Fatal Engagement.
I watched this live the other night.
Okay. So she stayed in Harwichport.
Harwichport. Yeah, I'm in Provincetown. I'm all the way down the end.
Okay. All right. So now we have this couple here in the show. They play a couple, husband and wife. And the funny thing is, Rosemary was in the show, wrote an advice column. Now she owns a newspaper, and her husband does too with her, but he's now the mayor. But he owned a sawmill. They're very wealthy and very prominent. He, how he had them ride on a bicycle. He has a motorcycle. She's very extremely fashionable in the show. And so much so in this show as well, which I thought was funny. Let's see. Let me move ahead on this. And we're going to get back to that one in a minute. So, Teresa says she loves Provincetown.
Well, Teresa, you come back to Provincetown. Look me up. I'll buy you ice cream.
All right. All right. You ready?
I was on a podcast, another podcast earlier today, and I made the same promise.
Aw. All right. Go ahead. Tell us. Tell us what you thought of this one. Let it loose.
Like I said earlier, I never say I hate anything because I know how hard people work to put a production together. I know what it is to put a production together. I know how hard people work on it. I'll never say somebody has no talent because everybody has talent to do something. If I was not doing this podcast tonight, I would not have finished it. It was probably the movie I've seen on Hallmark that I've liked the least. It was difficult to finish. It was the male lead I thought was charming and handsome, and I've seen him in other things. The female lead was immature and simple and hard to watch. The mystery didn't keep my attention. I lost track of it.
So now, when I look at that, hold that thought. I agree. So the writing was not strong, and the directing actually was from a pretty well-known director. But both actors, I know them. They're both good. She's a phenomenal actress, but you have to use what you have. Do you know what I mean? And I have seen her. I mean, she's done those two particular actors. Not only do they play husband and wife, have been on the show for since season 2, I think it was. I mean, they've been together for acting as scene partners for 11, 12 years. But they also have been in 4 other Hallmark movies, and she's been in several others where she's very serious. And then there's this when she's silly and flighty and dramatic. She's super dramatic in the show. So she can play it all, but you only can do what you're given.
I'm not blaming anybody.
Yeah.
I'm saying I did not enjoy it.
Got you.
I was texting Roxanne. Well, I didn't watch it live. I watched it last night. I thought I didn't watch it live. That's right. She was silly. She did get on my nerves. Somebody said that here. Avis said
Yeah,
that.
we'll put them up. Keep going,
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about. I'll put them up.
she totally got my nerves. I was not able to keep track of the mystery. I actually fell asleep and had to rewind because I'd gone to the beach yesterday, and the sun just takes a lot out of me.
Mhm.
And so I sat up and watched it just so I could pay attention. That opening sequence, it reminded me of like it should have been. I thought it was going to be like a cartoon,
Mm.
and Roxanne said it was trying to be tongue in cheek. I'm like, well,
Yep.
try harder. And I think it might have been more enjoyable if it was set in the 60s or 50s.
Yeah.
If it was a period piece. But I'm like, is this supposed to be like 2024? Is this? It was ridiculous.
Mhm.
And Nelly stole the same premise as Tipline, maybe, but
wait,
they
do not
didn't put enough
address.
in their bag.
Hold on, let me run my podcast here. Do not address what's in the comments unless I flash it across the screen,
Okay.
because we have to go in order or I lose them. So Arlene saying, what was up with the music in Nelly Knows Mysteries, and Snide, aka Grumple, was the best character, at least for me. And why was Kevin
I did
Scully
enjoy
riding
him.
a bike as a detective?
He
Well,
did keep my
Murdoch
attention.
Mysteries, he rides a bike.
Yeah. And that was like a cute quirk of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make that part of the character, right? Talk about it. Did he have a car accident, and what in his past makes him want to ride a bike?
Avis says, I did not care for it at all. Pascal was silly and got on my nerves, so she's agreeing with you.
Avis, I want to be your friend.
And Lillian says, I wasn't impressed with Nelly Knows Mystery. All I kept seeing was Lee and Rosemary. It's true. And Kathy's like,
well, if that's a shame, then that means they weren't directed well. If you only see this is what who my favorite actor is, Carol O'Connor, because everything I've ever seen Carol O'Connor in, I never see Archie Bunker.
Nope.
You see him in movies, you see him in The Heat of the Night. I never see.
Different.
You know who else? Ed O'Neill.
Yep.
I never see Al Bundy. You see, he was in Modern Family. Whatever you see him in, you don't see other characters. If you see another character they're playing, unless it's a similar character, they're not being directed well.
So that's funny that you say that, because it brings up this actress that I want to bring up in a minute. So Joanne is your real BFF. You're not going to buy her an ice cream. You're going to buy her a lobster dinner, because she says she likes the way you think.
I'll be happy to. I'm an accountant here, so I have clients that do all those things. So I'll bring you wherever you want to go.
There you go. Nikki says, to me, the Nelly movie stole the same premise as Tipline. She was a nosy, want to be detective, trying to work hard with the real detective. Sound familiar? They even show her with a kitten, Paulson. Yes, Nikki. Right? It was so like, that was wild that they did that. And yet they tried to make it silly, and the other one more gritty. And this one didn't pull it off. Although I do love the two actors. I know.
I mean, like I said, the guy I've seen in other things. He's handsome and charming. I don't think I've seen her. I looked her up on Wikipedia today, and I couldn't I couldn't find anything that I've seen her in. So I don't have anything to compare her to. It's easy to blame it on bad writing and directing. So
yeah. No, it is true. She's a very good actress.
Take your word for it.
Cindy is saying, I agree with you, Chip. I couldn't get into it, and Nelly was annoying, especially in the beginning. And
like I said, I would not have finished it, and I can count on one hand the number of times I have not finished a movie.
Yep. Carrie is saying Pascal played Nelly just like she plays Rosemary, wearing modern sweaters and jeans. It's true, except she didn't do as high pitched of a voice. But I love it, like what Kathy's saying. Chip, you're killing me. Unfiltered and honest is needed on When Calls the Heart.
And the friend was annoying. The diner made no sense. Oh, you just opened. Well, it looked like it had been there forever.
I think what they were doing was trying hard to set up like a community. So
I'll say it again. Try harder.
Yes.
And Roxanne texted me last night while I was watching it, and she said they're trying to be tongue in cheek. First, I said try harder. Then they showed promos for the Cases of Mystery Lane, which I really enjoyed the first one.
Mhm.
I told her I laughed more during that promo than I did during that whole movie. And
Oh,
that's God's honest truth. I can't wait. That's on Friday the 13th. I'm going to be home. That's the weekend of my class reunion. We should watch it together.
all right.
And I laughed more during that promo than I
I
did
want to
during
have
that
them
whole darn
on. I
movie.
love them. I love them.
And I like them. He's
I love them.
charming and cute, and she's charming and cute.
Yep, I love them. They're cute, and they're a married couple, and they're not boring, and they're cute. But that's for a whole other
And
show.
they have that cop that they work with, and he's
He's
like, well, yeah.
hilarious. Yep.
Anyway, but
All right.
let's review that one.
Okay, I want to add this in. So this what you were saying is you really love Carol Connor and Ed
Ed
O'Neill,
O'Neill.
right? And because they're different in everything they do, just like Madonna, every time we saw her come out, she had different sound, a different look. She was always something different. So this here is Morgana Wy. She is in the movie. She is the stepsister to the best friend. What is her name in the movie? I think it's Colleen. And every time I see her, she looks totally different. I've had her on set several times. I wanted to have her on before the show came out, but that's a whole little, has nothing to do with Morgana or me. So no matter what she does, she is totally different. So you have her here, right? And I thought she was great. She even had to have a crying scene. And then also what you'll see is people, you should go watch this. Her two latest, because she's been in many, 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 many Hallmark movies. Wedding Contract was recent. I thought was adorable, and she's hilarious in this. She's a pregnant woman, belly full out, and they're Jewish, and she's married, like a hot mess, but adorable. And then in My Italian Christmas, she's Italian in this one, and in this one, she plays Hannah in The Contract, where she plays Jewish, and her hair is all curly, dark, and short. And then when she is in My Italian Christmas, she's very serious. And she plays with Beau Bridges. It's really, I did a she was on my podcast. We had a chat.
I remember that.
Yes, she's good. Now, she never is the same in anything. You don't ever look at her as one character and think of her as that, like we did with Pascal. We thought of her as Rosemary, which is, like you said, poor directing. I don't know, because I don't know. It was just too much like her.
You think of somebody like everybody loves Lucille Ball. She was not a terrific actress. She played the same character in everything she was in. She was popular, she was beautiful, she was funny, but every single thing she was in, she played the same character.
I know. So Rona says, watch it live, fell asleep, watch it today on my DVR. Meh.
So that's 4 hours. Yes, that's time you're not going to get back. I'm sorry about that.
And Dee says, so excited for the cases on.
Yeah, I'm so glad they did another one. I didn't think they were. That was, and they had depth of secondary characters in that one.
Yes.
Not a lot, but enough.
And so now I wanted to come back to the Cut Color Murder. You and we had Brad on. He was great. And
we still text.
Oh, I love him. So we it was put together with a wonderful cast of
you're talking about Cut Color Murder.
Yes. Wonderful cast and all these wonderful characters where you could have gone off with different storylines. But remember
that scene where the sheriff rolls his eyes.
The whole thing is so good. And they're cutting their hair and this. Anyway, what happened is that the lead actor, like they're saying here, he and his team, they're a writing team, and they put together and wrote the movie, and they sold it to Hallmark, and Hallmark took it, and they were excited and ready to write it again if they picked it up, but it was not picked up. For whatever reason, people are like, oh, because Julie was pregnant. Doesn't matter. Julie was pregnant, had her baby, and would get back to work.
I loved her on Dallas.
Pardon me? Yes.
Remember?
Yes, I love her on
Dallas. You know
Dallas.
what I'm thinking.
We can't even talk about it on this channel. But
I
yes,
know, this is a family channel.
Yes, I loved her on Dallas. Okay. Love CCM. Me too. We did too. So there is hope. They should do it again. And I found that some of the topics are a little more grittier too. Now, even though Nelly Knows, which is a great name, is silly, they still talked about infidelity. They still talked about, what was, of course, there was murder, cheating, like want a family member out of their money. I mean, it's not like all roses, and it was funny because it was silly, but it wasn't a silly crime. It lost something along the way.
I will say the last 5 minutes
Uh-huh.
after they arrested the murderer,
Mm-hmm.
or even when the murderer was confronted and arrested, and the characters had a chance to relax.
Right.
That was less painful.
Okay. Well, they have good chemistry together. That's why. And it wasn't really about the murder mystery. It was about them at that point,
Yeah, maybe you're
Now,
right.
I,
But
I,
it was a hard hour and 55 minutes to get to that.
I know, which is sad. I know. I feel sad for them. So let's talk about 1, 2, and 3. So your number 1 is,
The Locket.
number
Yeah,
2 is.
I can't figure out this camera thing.
That's
I think
okay.
my camera's flipped. Like I'm pointing to my right, but it's on the camera. And when I was on the other podcast today, it went the other way.
So go ahead. And number 2
First
is.
one's The Locket.
Mhm.
Second one's Tipline, and then way down is the Nelly.
And that's for overall. So if you were to look at, let's look at authenticity of a storyline, believability of a storyline, which would be first, second, and
I think
third.
it's the same order.
Yeah, I thought that you wouldn't do it that way. I thought you would make tip line 1 and you would make Locket 2, because the Locket is
It was
it's
far fetched.
yeah,
It was far fetched, but I also can't see a cop doing what he did.
in what tip line?
Yeah,
What did he do that you
like
couldn't see him doing?
taking. I can't see. Yeah, cops aren't going to take help from a civilian.
Okay, so actually, listen to this story. Remember, his sergeant said he had to, but here's the thing about that. They actually really do have, that's a real thing. That is a real thing in Detroit, that they have a real tip line. There are real people that work it, that go into the police station and actually share with them, and they have a whole relationship, because that's what they actually, the newspaper, the real newspaper in Detroit, were actually sponsors in the production of the movie.
Okay, it's just it's to that extent where they put themselves in harm's way.
Oh, well, that's her who put herself in harm's way.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
and look, and I get it's fiction, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
The plausibility of The Locket is more plausible than Tipline.
Okay.
Look, and I don't watch these things thinking in any way it's any of it. Look, I just watched 3 Hannahs in a row where, well, actually her mother found the body in one of them. How many bodies does one person? I've never found a dead body in my life. I'm almost 60 years old.
I know, but which is a really good reason for the small town to have it, that it was a lost locket and not a dead body, right? Yeah. Which is good. All right.
No, and I've and I wish that they would stop. And I know what you're going to say. I wish they would stop billing these as season 1, episode 1, with really no hard plans to make another one. Because if you click information on your thing, it says, tip line, season 1, episode 1. We may never see another one. We saw that Francesca Quinn, which was so good and so ripe for another one. That Nikki and Nora, which was really good, number 1. And not one time during that movie, most people who watch that movie were probably under 40, have no idea who Nick and Nora from The Thin Man are. They didn't make one reference to that in that movie. and you know, that would have been cute, right? It just would have been cute. That's what I mean. They don't have a sense of humor. They don't they miss so many opportunities to be funny or cute.
I'm going to test your theory on this because I have put in Nick and Nora, Francesca, and all that. Not until recently did I see the whole episode 101 thing come up. And the first time I ever saw it was with Tipline. And then I saw it again when I put in this Nelly Knows. And but I have to say I'm going to check out the others and see what happens. Now, I wanted to share with you that Jean was police officer. I don't remember rank or exactly detective. I don't know, Jean, and I'm sorry, you could put that in the comments, but she said we always took tips.
No, I know they take tips seriously, but are you going to bring in the person who reports the tips and bring them on stakeouts and things with you? I mean,
right. Well, you didn't want to at first, remember?
Yeah. No, that's not a killer for me. That's not a reason to discount the movie. I'm just saying that made it less realistic than the
realistic than yes, and that's what my question was. So that's okay.
Lillian, that's so sad. I'm sorry to hear that.
I know. Nikki said the tip line director did say something about
I've heard that too.
So I was talking about it. We were she did, and I asked the question, Nikki, who actually said it was they were on Hallmark movie reviewer, Eric. Is she the executive? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the technical term was, but she's the big wig for Hallmark movies. And she was being interviewed and she was talking about we like to do things in threes.
Well, it's got to be more economical to do it in threes.
If we're going to, we want to think about it, see how it goes, and then do another. And I asked the directors that, and they were saying, yes, that's how they even set up there was a mother-daughter team who did Tipline, and the daughter is the one who does the directing for Aurora Teagardens, the back in the day, the originals, like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, the early ones.
No, the prequels. That's what it does.
Well, have they filmed another one?
Well, yeah, there's another one coming out. Yeah.
Is there?
Number 2. Yeah. And number 2 is coming out. So she works on that too. So she was like, that's what they try to do. There's certain things they put in place so that they can make it another one. Arlene says, I think Tipline left more sources for mystery than either Locket or Nelly.
I mean, this just by the nature of
the
premise. Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the Locket one, the nature of antiques gives it an opportunity.
So Jean says, yes, sometimes they would help out. I always made them stay in the car, and she's a retired detective. She sent me her a picture.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah, of her. Yes.
Jean, was it a big city or a small town?
She'll tell you in a minute. And this has been good.
Roxanne, did we ever have a murder in our hometown?
Oh, yes. Gosh, it was like literally feet away from my house. Yes, it was
Passmore Avenue.
Yes, around the corner. Let's not talk about it on here. We'll talk about it when we get off. But yes, it was in social media. It was.
When was this?
Rock the town. Oh, okay, we'll talk about it in a minute. All right, so on the Cape. Let's see. Small town, Southern Ohio.
There was I saw that. Thank you. There was an unsolved murder here. They found a body, and this is a little gruesome, but there was they found a body. Hands and feet were missing, and this was 1974. It was called. It's pretty famous. They did a not Unsolved Mysteries, but one of those cable shows, investigation discovery in the early 70s. And she was buried in the Catholic cemetery, behind, back that way. And just last year, it was 1974, just last year, they identified the body, located the family, and they exhumed her and gave her a decent burial with her name And
Wow, like 50 years
and the
later.
town really took care of the grave
Yeah.
and paid respect. And there's dunes here, and she was called Lady of the Dunes. She didn't have a name,
Oh,
and it was really creepy in a way, but it was nice the way the town took care of her.
that's nice. Arlene's saying there was a tip in my little town sheriff's office that led to a body at the bottom of a well. Good Lord, we're taking some turn here. We're gonna eat. We're
Well,
not.
there's more from our hometown had
Wait, hold
a
on,
little bit. We were a little
Cindy.
mobbed up, so there's more.
That's a different story for us. But hold
That's
that
why I
thought.
didn't name it.
I know, but they know where I live.
If you
So
ever read Boardwalk Empire,
I know they know where I live though. Cindy's like, there was a murder, and then Jennifer's like, there was a murder, and Jean is back in the 80s. So everybody is sharing now their murders.
look, they watch these. We watch these movies for a reason. We're all drawn to this, right?
I know. So there have been more than one murders in our town. There
Yeah.
have been.
There was one when I was in college in the
Back
80s.
in the day and things like that, but not really. But there was one.
A couple of people have gone missing.
Yes, they've gone missing, with
I
concrete
dug up the foundation
screws.
of a bar when I was in college.
Okay. Oh, all right. Karen is good. We're going to end with this, Karen. Don't get him started on this. Go ahead. Go.
I love garage sale. I will tell you. Let me tell you about garage sale. I don't care who she paid off to send her kids to college. I loved it. First of all, talk about depth of characters. We had Frank and his wife, who really never had much to do. We had my favorite, Danny, Sarah Strange, who should have her own series. Don't even get me talking about her. They could have had. And somebody's talking about Martha's Vineyard. Oh, she said HV. I thought it was MV. They could, after they disposed of Lori Loughlin, I had a great idea where Jen got murdered and Hannah and Danny got together to solve it, and then opened up their own detective agency. Nobody listens to me, and but I thought that was really a good series, and there's apparently two. There's one in the can, and there was one that had 2 weeks left of filming, and I wish they'd at least show that one that they never aired. But speaking of Sarah Strange, what I really want, Roxanne knows what I'm going to say.
Here we go.
2015 Christmas movie, The Christmas Detour with CCB, and who's the guy?
Oh, it's our Carson. Well, he's Carson on the show. It's a Paul Green.
Okay, terrible movie. Christmas Detour.
Says it.
Secondary story: Frank and Maxine traveling from Buffalo to New York, bickering couple. They're separating. They're going to Buffalo to tell their daughter, they're going somewhere. No, they're from Buffalo. They're going to tell their daughter that they're splitting up. I'm going to cry. That scene where they're dancing in the end. It's David Lewis, who's been in every Hallmark mystery series, either as the victim or the killer. If you see him in the credits, he's either the killer or the victim.
He's been the killer in Garage Sale.
He's been the killer in Garage Sale. He's been the victim in Aurora. He's been the killer in Murder, She Baked. Roxanne's had her on his show.
When Calls the Heart, and he is a Mountie in When.
And I follow him on Instagram. He's so funny.
I love him.
And he goes on Instagram drunk. I love him. And so they get together. Of course, they get together, and apparently they're friends, and they've worked together so many times. And they improvise the scene. Of course, they get together at the end. Lillian, you know what I mean. And anytime anybody comments on Christmas Detour, I just put Frank and Maxine forever. So I had the idea, and I told him when he was on Roxanne's show, they should do the Frank and Maxine mysteries. And I just love it. I just love that idea.
They're actually friends in real life.
They've worked. I mean, these Canadian, Hallmark is like a repertory company. They use the same group of actors. They've all worked together pre-Hallmark. The Canadian acting community is small. You watch Hallmark movies, and you watch a lot of those sci-fi shows on the Sci-Fi Network,
We know.
USA Network. You see all these guys. They've all been working together for decades. They all know each other. They all work well together. And the reason you keep seeing them on these shows is they show up, they know their lines, they're prepared. And that's why you keep seeing them. I was watching these Hannah movies today, and they're all popping up all over the place.
Yeah. This one's for me.
So Frank and Maxine forever.
I know, Frank and Maxine forever. So Kathy, the other day, Chip, what I did was I talked about a little blurb and fun facts about the three movies because they all star When Calls the Heart peeps. And I was, in case someone didn't see one, maybe it would entice them to go check it out. And she's asking, because then I went to the mysteries of the show, how people disappear or weird things happen. And she's asking about what I was showing the kiddos. Timmy was one. I wanted to know about Opal's parents, Emily's parents. Yes, that was one of the combos that we had.
What's HV?
Hope Valley.
Oh,
that's where they're.
I thought it was MV, Martha's Vineyard, because that's another one that was one of the very few male, that one in Gourmet Detectives, with a male lead, and you don't see that a lot.
Yeah, no, it's good though.
And that was good. I didn't love the female lead in that one.
She's very different. Z is very different. The book's written by a gentleman that's from your.
But you knew him, right? You corresponded with him.
Amazing. Loved his books, and it's just very different with how.
Well, they do that, right?
Yeah. The books are really good. Very good.
She just didn't. She didn't match with him looks wise.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been fun and interesting. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Chip, what would you like to say before you say good night?
Thank everybody for joining, and we do want to. I do want to do another show where we just recap the whole Aurora Tea Garden series because I have lots of feelings on that.
We did something about that a while back. If anybody is an Aurora Tea Garden fan, we did have a big discussion about it way back.
I want to have a bigger one.
Way back. I mean, way.
Well, now that it's over, I want to go through all, not movie by movie by movie, but the progression of the character and how it went from interesting to
the progression of the
quite
wig.
Annoying.
The progression of the wig. We've talked about the wig on.
And the class reunion one where they expected us to believe she was 38. I think they could have had it had a balloon in front of the number and just leave us guessing.
Yeah.
I'm having my class reunion in 3 weeks. It's 41 years and proud of it. And we're not having banners. We're having nothing. We're just having.
They have a pond there, so you could jump in like we're at the way home, and then you'll be
I was on a group text with Sean and Jeff and Gary and John Brady. I said I have one word for you guys: Uber.
Yes,
because they're going to get drunk and stupid. Teresa, I can't wait to see you also.
All right, and Catherine,
Catherine, yes, thank you. Catherine Beebe. We have Beebes in our hometown.
We do. Arlene.
I almost said the name of the town.
They know where I live.
Oh,
Arlene,
okay.
Yeah, Arlene saying great job. Thanks, Chip. Let's see. Nikki says haven't watched any of the Auroras.
They're interesting. I mean, they're good. They're decent. It's just I have this whole thing about CCB.
Listen, Kathy, you would not want Chip to review When Calls the Heart.
Oh, no.
And he wouldn't be allowed. I'd be so banned. I'm already banned for doing nothing. Oh my God. All right. Let's see. Chip.
And there's no way I can catch up on 19 seasons.
Chip, they're asking you. I know you kind of don't.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I didn't put my last name in here because I wouldn't have been able to bill myself as Hallmark movie expert.
I wanted him to put that part on. It wasn't him. It was me who said that. I said,
so my last name, can I put my last name in there?
I'm gonna take this down and you can
I can edit my name, right?
Yes.
So I'm on Instagram and
Facebook
and Twitter, whatever they're calling that now. I don't post much on Twitter.
X.
But I'm on Instagram. I post inspirational posts almost every day on Instagram.
Yes, he does.
And tomorrow will be especially because tomorrow would be my mother's birthday.
Very passive aggressive.
No, tomorrow will be nice because tomorrow will be my mother's birthday.
Okay, your mama.
Roxanne knew my mother well.
I loved her.
Remember did you read at my mother's funeral? No, you read at her you read on her 80th birthday tribute.
Yes, I did. I read a poem.
The Dash, right?
Yes, I did.
If anybody knows the poem The Dash,
yeah,
just Google it. It's very nice.
It's beautiful. All right, Cindy says, thank you. This was great. And then Kathy thinks you're hilarious. Good Lord, please.
Don't encourage me.
Kathy. All right.
Oh, and if anybody liked the sitcom The Middle, the actors who played Sue Heck, Sue Heck, and her BFF Brad, they have a new podcast called The Middling, Middling. They just started a new podcast like the end of July, and they recap an episode every week on Wednesdays. It is so funny.
It's good.
And I won a contest to be on their podcast today.
Your dream. You just said it the other day. I want to win. I want to win. Oh,
and I did. I did. So they, if you like that show, it is so funny. They do use a little bit of language.
That's
if that
all right.
offends you, beware. But they have a guest every week, and it's really funny. It's called The Middling, Middling.
Yes. All right, friends. See ya.
And somebody already started following me. Barbara Ann. Thank you.
Wonderful. Nice. Good night.
Bye, everybody.